Ready? Play.
Hey guys, the last match of the Golden Swing, the last match of the Chile Open, Alejandro Tabilo against Sebastian Baez. We will actually have John joining us later on once he stops watching that exhibition by Netflix between Nadal and Alcaraz. I am not watching that BS, no. I would much rather just watch, normal tennis, including this final, but also the Austin final, which is getting kind of spicy by now. Because UA1 had 3 match points, actually consecutive as well on return. And she has just lost a double break lead in the second set. So I'll try to sort of keep up with that one as well. Probably won't talk about it too much, but yeah, hopefully that one just can clinch it pretty quickly. And then we'll sort of be able to move on to the Santiago final fully. However, Santiago Chile Open, third match between these two guys. We've got Alejandro Tabilo, who, of course, won against Sebastian Baez in Cordoba in 2022, but he lost to him in Buenos Aires 2021. So both their prior meetings have taken place on Golden Swing clay in South America. When it comes to the sort of stakes for both players, Baez is aiming at a top 20 debut, so big stuff for him potentially. Obviously, he's had a phenomenal Golden Swing, the quarterfinals in every event, semifinals in 3 of the 4, and now he's going for his second title, which would put him at 9 wins in a row as well. Alejandro Tabilo looking for his second ATP Tour title and second this year as well, because he's won Auckland. His maiden title was in Auckland in January. And he's already locked up like a beautiful career high. Obviously, can go up even further. I would say that Baez is the favorite, but we know that the Chilean crowd has been a big factor in some of these matches, and possibly they can also be helpful to Tabilo here. When it comes to Baez, of course, the fatigue. I mean, maybe it's a thing, but I was looking at it today actually, and because of all these top 4 seedings that he's been getting, and like the fact that he didn't have to play his first round in Cordoba, Buenos Aires, and Santiago, he actually hasn't played that much tennis since let's say the beginning of February compared to where we would sort of put him just thinking of his results, right? Since barely beating Dimitri Popko in Davis Cup on the 4th, I think I think it was on the 4th of February, he's played 15, 16 matches. So it's not the end of the world, really. So I think he's probably going to be fine. And he is playing with a ton of confidence right now. He is really blasting the forehand at the same time, probably defending as good as ever. So definitely all options still out there for Sebastian Baez. And I don't think fatigue will be that much of a concern in this one. If anything, Tabilo might need a very different tactical approach than yesterday, because yesterday he played against Corentin Moutet and was able to, in the key moments, actually roll the ball back in, sort of just allow the Frenchman to take over and and just make him hit the errors. And that's not really something that Tabilo is used to. Probably today he requires a more usual plan, straight up hitting his attacking combinations. So far, it's a patchy start from him as he hits 2 double faults. He's also won 2 points, that were actually played out. Sorry. So that's why he's not in big trouble yet. You might have noticed that I'm cosplaying Jordan Thompson, Alex de Minaur, and Steve Johnson today. That's only for today, but I thought, okay, I might also come onto the stream like that. Why not? It's definitely a bit of a tennis style image. However, it's not going to be permanent. But after all these double faults, Tabilo now hits an ace. So despite being sort of 1-2 down in the ace double fault column, he still gets to a game point and can just maybe settle his nerves a bit. Tabilo, it's his third ATP Tour final. One he had in the Golden Swing was 2022, and that was actually in Cordoba, where he lost to Albert Ramos Vinoas from 4-1 up in the deciding set. And it was double break, I think, as well. That year, he also made the semifinals in Santiago. And he was on the opposite half of the opposite half of the draw from Baez there as well, losing to Pedro Martinez, who eventually beat Baez in the final. Can Tabilo clinch this game right away? Now he's getting a bit pushed a bit behind by Baez. The Argentine taking over with the forehand inside out, and he manages to draw out the error. Yeah, this time Tabilo did not really look too comfortable in this extended exchange. Against Mute, it was very different because, well, we'll see. I mean, maybe similar patterns will also hold up. But against Mute, it was very different since Mute was like not doing that much damage on the inside out forehand, going at the Tabilo backhand, which I guess he kind of really needed. Whereas here, I mean, Baez can go cross court into the backhand, which is fine already. And also, like, yeah, I don't think he'll be making as many errors dictating as Mute. So, as I said earlier, probably Tabilo needs a stronger effort at least on the attack today. We'll see how that goes for him anyway. On the one hand, it's easier, right? Because it's just his typical game. But on the other hand, you really need to execute it very well right now against someone who's as red hot as Baez. And the Argentine is not willing to give up on this game yet either. Wins another prolonged rally, finally getting enough depth on the cross-court backhand. I guess that's probably the pattern that Tabilo will be also looking for, the lefty forehand at the Baez backhand. But despite the Argentine being like a pretty small player, at least for a tennis player, he is definitely small. I think he actually hits off shoulder height pretty well, so I don't know if Tabilo's ball will be hurting him all that much there. Definitely serving well is a requirement. We just see how impactful that can be again. Backhand drop shot from Tabilo, and it wasn't good enough, but Baez still just dumps it into the middle of the net. We have a scoreboard on our screens as well right now, so you will not have as great of an view on my beautiful mustache, but well, I think you're gonna have to handle it. I'm actually glad that you will not have a great view on that, since it does look a little stupid on camera. But as I said, it's only a one-day thing, so I'm not gonna really like show up, in public with it. I mean, I might go to the shop tomorrow before cutting it off. That's possible, before shaving it, but I will not meet any friends before with this on my face. Anyway, Sebastian Baez serving it love one down. It was a bit of a long game, but eventually no break points. Baez dictating here, spreading the court with the forehand, but there's a couple of pretty tricky bounces coming his way, especially that last one. As he was trying to take the ball quite early, it definitely ruined his chances for good contact on it. But I think even the previous shot for Tabilo also didn't bounce too well. Well, it's Santiago. We should be expecting stuff like that. This definitely has not been the cleanest, the best, the most even clay court in the world, or at least on the tour. In fact, it's probably hard to find one like this on the main circuit. Ooh. Now that's a point that Tabilo will be looking for. Seemingly no pressure on Baez here, but suddenly the Chilean just absolutely ramps it up on the forehand down the line. Gets a clean winner, gets a stunning point to really start pushing Baez in this game. That should be on the line from Baez, but not much is coming for him for free yet. And this one Tabilo will be happy to play, but Baez recovers. Again, the defensive game of his last couple of weeks has been very, very sharp. But he doesn't manage to get it over the net eventually, and it's 2 breakpoints Tabilo. Survives this longer exchange this time. He was in control fully at first, just blasting a couple of forehands. Baez survived all that, but then once he actually had a pretty easy shot to hit, sort of, was already in position, that's when he misses. So 2 breakpoints for the home country player, for the home crowd favorite. Tabilo is actually the third Chilean in the final of Santiago in the 5-year history of the tournament. Nicolas Jarry won it in 2023, of course, last year, and Christian Garin won it in 2021. With the non-Chilean champions being Thiago Seyboth-Wild, of course, in 2020, that famous run there, and also Pedro Martinez, whom I already mentioned, in 2022. Haven't had a Diego Schwartzman or Carlos Alcaraz picking up a title, but, well, these guys usually don't play Santiago and instead just focus on the hard courts already. Hi, Jake. As I promised, not watching the Netflix slam. Just that. Just that final, and also the Austin one, which is now going into the second set tiebreak. It will be a brutal loss for UA1 if she can't clinch it or if she, can't clinch it in 3 either, because of course that's also a possibility, despite all the momentum shift that would happen because of her 5-2 choke and even 5-3 for love on return. Will Baez also climb himself out of this little trouble? Yes, indeed. Huge +1 forehand inside out winner. Again, that shoulder height ball that he just takes so well. And he manages to get himself to 1 game. Also, Baez, not unlike Tabilo, was in a bit of a struggle here. He actually had to save 2 breakpoints. That's, on the contrary to his opponent. However, definitely both are still getting into the match. Well, that was a nice game from Tabilo still, despite losing it. He had a couple of opportunities to maybe even go for more than he actually managed to get out of it. But he chose his spots really well in terms of just picking the right opportunities to blast the forehand. Let's see how Baez is sort of stamina-wise and when it comes to the movement being as springy as in the previous rounds. But I really, as I said, I would assume that he will be fine, because if you really think about it, he hasn't played that many matches in the Golden Swing. By the way, also wild stuff, but Sebastian Baez, if he wins today, he would be top 5 in the ATP race. I know it's just 2 months, but, getting 1,000 points here, that's basically like half of what you need to do to get to be in the top 50, or even more than half. And of course, Sebastian Baez would actually be in the top 50 if he wins today. So top 50, top 20. Oh, Jesus. Of course, top 20. I mean, I think 1,000 points is probably enough to be in the top 50 or thereabouts. But yeah, top 20. I was trying to talk about top 20 debut, yeah, for Baez if he wins. That's basically the main ranking narrative. Looks like one will have another chance to clinch that match. 5-1 in the second set tiebreak now. So probably more match points coming. Tabilo finding these sweet spots again on the serve here. All week he hasn't maybe been blasting his shots. He blasting his serves too much. They usually don't reach some insane speeds, but the placement on them, and also, of course, in the altitude conditions, he's been a very hard guy to break. Although Corentin Moutet did manage that a few times yesterday. Luciano Darderi and Tomas Barrios Vera didn't. Oh, and also Tabilo is going for the double, winning both singles and doubles in Santiago. Yesterday he won with Tomas Barrios Vera in the doubles over Matias Soto and Orlando Luz. And today he's trying to do that as the first player since last week when Jordan Thompson achieved that feat in Los Cabos. Of course, Thompson in pretty spectacular fashion, winning winning 3 matches in 7 hours on Saturday, the last day of the event. Baez chasing down a drop shot here and finding a really nice angle. So 30-all, and he's once again causing issues to Tabilo. So is UA1 to Ziyu Wang, as E1 is currently 5 match points up again. So after missing 3 in the 5-3 game, it looks like we might finally get a finish in that Chinese final in Austin. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the only other tennis match happening on the planet right now. No, of course, there's also Indian Wells qualifying. That's what I was referring to. Where Sue Xie, by the way, won today against Kamila Rakimova. That's pretty crazy. Her retirement at the Australian Open was apparently only from Grand Slam singles, so like she still might pick up some alternate spots if they present themselves. And so far, she's managed to pull that off. I mean, against the top 100 players. Or is Rakimova still in the top 100? Well, she is. Okay, 94. So I wasn't lying. Good to know. Because I actually wasn't sure. That's already 5 match points saved by Ziyu Wang. But now there's going to be 2 coming on the only one serve. I actually don't even know if the Netflix Slam has a deciding tiebreak or a third set, honestly. So I guess I'll find out in a second. But yeah, when it comes to Tabilo Baez, again, Tabilo may be overplaying the drop shot a little bit, and this time Baez puts it away into the open court. 40-all point now, pretty crucial, but it's going to be Baez just sending a forehand long kind of out of nowhere. So giving Tabilo a bit of a breather here for sure. And can he also clinch the game and just be done with it? Trading backhand cross of Baez against Tabilo's lefty forehand. I don't think it's actually the spin that caused his here like Baez to be slightly uncomfortable, but anyway, he sends it long, and he can actually regret this as like another opportunity. Made a few errors in the rallies, just cracked first when sort of faced with another deuce and another opportunity to potentially do even more to Alejandro Tabilo. And the one eventually claims it. So the Austin final is done. The all Chinese battle. That took a while. I think it was her 7th championship point. Let's see if Tabilo or Baez will also be needing something like that. But definitely quite an emotional win, especially because of that. But also, she's of course picking up her first WTA Tour title. So there are many reasons for her to be absolutely pumped at the moment. Let's see how much motivation and hunger will be in Sebastian Baez in this next game. Of course, there's still one more WTA Tour final to come. probably around when we are going to be watching this one basically around the time when that one is going to be played out, and that's of course in San Diego when Katie Boulter will take on Marta Kostiuk. I think a pretty exciting one as well. Kostiuk, of course, always one of these sort of close to a breakthrough player, whereas Katie Boulter is kind of suddenly playing the best tennis of her career. And Alex Deminor, one of the guys I'm cosplaying today, will be there. So, have you ever seen me and Alex Deminor in the same room? I don't know if I've seen it. Yeah, I probably haven't been in the same room with Alex Deminor or Steve Johnson or Jordan Thompson, honestly. So, quite clearly, I might be either of these guys. Amritraj and Panditri saying that Rafa EXO is high stakes. Well, I mean, they have to build it up, right? Is it Prakash, by the way, or VJ? Because I guess it could be both. Like, I could imagine them getting VJ. 10-point tiebreak to decide it. Okay. Yeah, I thought so, but I've seen EXOs being decided by third sets actually before, so I wasn't sure. It was kind of hard to find the info. Yet earlier today, someone asked me about like the format of this EXO, and I was like, I have zero interest in the event, but I might Google it. I mean, he could have also Googled it, but I might Google it. And then I was like, okay, I've seen no information whatsoever. So I just said, sorry, I have zero interest in the event. Yeah, I mean, Nadal Alcaraz, no, that's not an EXO with high stakes. I think Alcaraz Djokovic, that one just before the beginning of the season, that kind of was, but no, not Alcaraz. Not Alcaraz at all. To have an EXO be high stakes, you gotta have both guys, like, I don't know, just in front of the new season or in front of a big tournament, and like they're both one of the main contenders for it. Whereas Nadal is not, simply, or at least he's not until he will be. So like essentially until we see it. So yeah, I don't think it's really reasonable to call it high stakes. $40-30 Baez here after a nice forehand inside out winner. He should set up nicely here as well, but he doesn't really take advantage of the softer, shorter ball from Tabilo. Still trading though, and eventually he manages to get the error out of the Chilean. So apparently it was. I just typed it into the Twitter search engine, and I suppose that was actually Prakash Arbitrage, then, right? No, not VJ. I was kind of hoping for it to be VJ Arbitrage. That would be fun. Yeah, as John said in the chat, he will be back after the 10-point tiebreaker, so don't worry about him. And he will bring back the scoreboard with him. I don't know if it's heavy or not, but he will bring it back, as indeed Carlos and Rafa are just starting their 10-point breaker, while Alejandro Tabilo and Sebastian Baez are 2 games all. Now you can see my Jordan Thompson, Alex Deminor, Steve Johnson look once again in sort of full flight. It's not great, I know, but as I said, it's only a temporary thing. It's an ode to Jordan Thompson. That's what I told John earlier today, but it might also be an ode to Alex Deminor this week, right? I mean, Acapulco, Katie Bolter, especially if she wins the title here today as well, and especially with Alex, of course, watching her from the stands. I feel like, I might actually change my ode and the player I'm honoring with my new image to Alex Deminor. Or Stevie J, actually, like if he announces retirement, for example, and I think he might retire in Indian Wells, for example, or maybe, some California events soon. I mean, he clearly hasn't been too dedicated to like traveling and just kind of plays whatever is close. But he did get a wild card, I think, for the qualies. Tabilo with a forehand drop shot, but that's not good enough. I mean, the dropper was great, but then he had so many options. He could pass down the line, he could pass cross, he could lob. I think lob was probably the easiest way, but he just plays it onto the Baez racket. I mean, great reaction from Sebi as well, but all in all, also not a strong effort by the Chilean. So 30 all again, and this is like, this is not a typical Santiago match so far, where like there's a lot of easy holds. Everything has to be fought for so far. But yes, great serve out wide, and then there's simply nothing that Baez can do with the +1 forehand of Tabilo. 40-30, especially when Tabilo just sort of never stops, never slows down, just runs into all of these forehands. He can definitely be a very threatening player. Even if, as I said yesterday, he actually had to go away from it a while, from it for a while, and just kind of play smarter, play grinding tennis, even in a way. 3-2 Tabilo, still no breaks, but it's not like everything is bed of roses for these guys. When they played in Cordoba 2 years ago, it was a 6-1, 7-6 win for Alejandro Tabilo, whereas in Buenos Aires 3 years ago, it was actually Baez who lost just one game. But I mean, since then, Tabilo has obviously made considerable progress. So has Baez probably, but for Baez, I think it's been a much more steady track of progression, whereas of course Tabilo had that great start to 2022, late 2021 as well. Then he basically dips for about a year. He falls down to 180 in the rankings. And it was actually after the Golden Swing last year that he fell off to 180 in the rankings. So if we think about it this way, I mean, being like top 40 right now, it's a massive feat. Really recovering his career in that. I would love to hear your dramatic reading of an ode to Jordan Thompson. I mean, my ode is this. So I don't know if I can read that dramatically, but my ode is there to be seen, not to be read, probably. But you could write an ode to Jordan Thompson. Something about, they called you a vulture, a bird of prey, but no, I mean, only thing I could rhyme with prey was gay, and that didn't make sense. But prey, hey, hey is another rhyme. Or gray, for example, but that also doesn't work. Day, with day you could rhyme something. And then you just mentioned that he now has an awesome first serve, that he is calmer on the court, and la la la. He doesn't moan as much. And eventually you sort of arrive in the Los Cabos comeback against Mikkelsen. That would be a good ode. I don't know if odes even have to be rhymed, honestly. Ode to Joy certainly is. But I guess there can be a bit of a freestyle ode as well. Only one Alejandro Davidovich Fukina, yeah. I can imagine. Tabilo is like kind of catching up to him in the rankings. But of course, even if it's just, just a few positions, maybe if he wins this title, because he would be at 35, it's still, 12 positions. It's still quite a lot of points, about 400. So I think Davidovich Fokina is probably going to be pretty safe for a while there as the highest ranked Alejandro. Is Davidovich Fokina the highest ranked Alejandro since Lady Gaga's Alejandro on Billboard? It's possible. He's definitely the highest ranked Alejandro right now, of course, followed up by Tabilo. And whoever is there next. I can't come up with anyone else, at least not presently. Oh, Moro Cañas probably, although there might be someone that I'm missing between them, since Moro Cañas is probably like barely in the top 300. Anyway, love 30 down here for Baez. Again, things not looking too bright, and he will have to fight for it. He's been really good on the attack when he sort of finds his opening, but it's not always easy to hit through Tabilo. And I guess Mute was experiencing a similar idea yesterday when he just kind of came into the match thinking if I can, and I will just simply out rally Tabilo in every single long point. And it actually turned out that wasn't fully the case. And again, this is a similar sort of point where Baez just plays the forehand cross at Tabilo's backhand, and eventually it's actually Sebi who makes the error. Pretty close, but it is out. So second serve at love 40. This can get very complicated quickly for Baez. Attacks the net after the +1 forehand. He's gonna have to let that lob go. Another pretty smart play from Tabilo, I would say, because you kind of expect him to, well, I mean, just plays a lob that's high enough, and he kind of knows that Baez will not smash it, right? Because of his physicality, because of his height, and that he will be at least back to neutral. Eventually, he still loses the point, but, well, he managed to get himself out of a sticky situation there. 15-40, still though, 2 more breakpoints. 5-all in the deciding tiebreak of the Nadal Alcaraz. EXO. Oh my goodness, what a net court from Sebastian Baez. Hitting backhand cross, and I mean, to his credit, the net didn't really like help the ball get into play, it seemed at first. No, actually, okay, watching it on a replay, it's even weirder than this. Okay, so it just bounces sideways. It doesn't bounce to Tabilo's side of the court or like in that direction. It just bounces sideways, stays on top of the net, and just falls off on Tabilo's side. Absolutely ungettable and lucky AF. So 1 more breakpoint still for the 2022 semifinalist, and indeed Baez saves that as well. This time getting an error of the forehand side of Tabilo. So 3 breakpoints. I think it's 5 by now in this match already. It's not like Tabilo's games have been super easy. However, at least I don't think he's had to save a breakpoint yet. Things aren't as smooth for Baez. 2 breakpoints in the second game, I think. Now 3 in a row. And there's also going to be a 4th one. Tabilo really making Baez lose his balance here. And then just taking that opportunity with the forehand inside out winner. So 1 more breakpoint for Tabilo, 6th in this match already. And kinda must have. The return is in, so he will like his chances, but he misses a backhand down the middle. The frustrating part for him must be that he wasn't really even trying to go for it, right? I mean, he was just, well, even if he was hitting it pretty hard in the deep, I mean, it was still going to be a regulation shot. So 6 breakpoints by now, 4 in this game, including 3 consecutive. And now it's a free point for Baez with an unreturned serve. Oh, I just came up with another line for the Jordan Thompson ode, as you can actually rhyme prey with clay. So after the bird of prey, there would be you, and that you were never really that good on clay or whatever, some combination of that. Because of course Jordan, does not have a great record on the dirt. Doesn't really schedule himself around these events either. Although he did make Roland Garros round 3, I think. Anyway, that's neither here nor there really. Yeah, and another cheapish error from Tabilo. Kinda letting Baez off the hook now. 7-all in that Nadal Alcaraz exhibition. I can't wait for all the meaningful discourse after all that stuff in the EXO. I mean, surely, if Nadal is pushing Alcaraz so deep, then Nadal will have to be one of the main contenders in Indian Wells. And if Alcaraz is losing to Nadal, surely that means he can't win Indian Wells. I mean, he's losing to a grandpa. That's gonna be tennis Twitter in 10 minutes. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but the Talking Tennis account was actually quote tweeted by Pavi G as well. And it's a pretty hilarious one because John posted this pretty popular tweet actually about the Rublev default. And essentially, Pavi G quote tweeted it and said, "Did Talking Tennis post anything about Artur Fils on the same day, in Santiago, that video where he speaks to the supervisor and just kind of tells him to effing answer his effing question a lot of times?" And that tweet meant that Pavi G considers Talking Tennis part of the establishment. So I don't know how it would really work out, for someone telling John that. I don't want to get into the logic. However, maybe it's the true sign of making it. When Pavi G considers you a part of the establishment, maybe that's where you've made it as a YouTube tennis project. Can Baez claim the game now? Great shot from Tabilo, and Baez actually can't quite cover it with the forehand squash shot. I think he's missed a couple of these so far in this match, but this time the counter from Tabilo, and it's actually not an example. Like it's a good example for him because he was usually missing these forehands down the line when he was just fully blasting through it. Here he kind of gets to it on the slide and just puts a lot more shape on the ball, Foray, yeah, that would work well for Jordan or Hooray. And by the way, Jane, I mean you're also a Rublev fan, right? So how did you react to the default? I think I was even thinking of that, like that we have a few big Rublev fans in the chat on a regular basis, and it would be interesting to hear sort of what their reaction was, because obviously on Twitter we see both people just saying that this can't happen again, and also some defenders. Breakpoint for Baez, for Tabilo again, 5th in this game already. It's a great forehand return. He has Baez where he wants him right now, but will he be able to clinch the point? Yes, he does. He runs to the net. Great volley as well. 4-2 Tabilo. And this is all really on the back of the return here. He was pushing for that break. He lost 3 consecutive break points. but eventually he gets over the line. Ooh, and there's some match point saving in the exhibition as well, it seems. I think Carlos had one at 9-8, and now they're probably switching ends at 9-0. I wonder how much of that match is staged as well. I mean, by now probably 0%, but like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it had to go free, right? Or maybe just at least 2 close tie breaks or something. Because yeah, it would be kind of very detrimental to the sport of tennis if it didn't. You have this once in a year Netflix show, sort of an opportunity to bring tennis to. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of yawning on this stream. An opportunity to bring a lot of tennis to like the wider audience, and then the match is like a complete dud. They would not allow it. I think they would not really allow that to happen. So I think they were probably forced to get the third set. Okay. Thank you for that opinion. It's not necessarily what I subscribe to, but I definitely can. Well, you're not alone, and of course, I've seen a lot of argumentation as well in both directions, really. Let's see, because this set is pretty much running away from Baez quite quickly if he can't threaten here. Nice backhand return gives him the point, but he's still 15-30 down. Saved these 3 breakpoints in the previous game, and then you kind of sit there and feel like, okay, so I will just take that set to the end, easy. But I mean that game to the end now, but that actually didn't happen for him. Seems like it will be another match point for Alcaraz in that other thing, this time on serve. The drop shot from Tabilo. Is he gonna play the lob right this time? Nah. It's actually quite a while. It's way long actually. Well, way long maybe is a stretch, but he wasn't that close to making it either. The lob game is not too strong with him, let's be honest. And the same was actually against Mute yesterday, right? But he does throw in a lot of drop shots, and I don't think his success rate today has been too good either. And it's not the moments when he throws them in, right? It's just the execution is usually not great. I mean, it usually bounces like on the service line and high up. Anyway, breakpoint now for Baez, kind of out of nowhere, as Tabilo misses a +1 forehand. Nothing routine, but still. So the opportunity for the Rio de Janeiro champion is there, especially as it's going to be a second serve from Tabilo. Yeah, and you can't just waste an opportunity like this. What a horrible return. I mean, I don't even know what he was trying to do with it, honestly. It really falls so far wide out of the right side of the court that it's tough to understand what exactly he had in mind with it. Again, trading that forehand crosscourt from Baez, going at the Tabilo backhand. How long can they keep it up, and who will crack first? It's Baez who switches up the pattern and goes to the Tabilo forehand and actually gets an error out of it. Once again, like, it's massively out. So it's not like the tension isn't getting to Tabilo at all. But of course, on the previous breakpoint, Baez totally whiffed second serve return. 11-11 in that tiebreaker between Nadal and Alcaraz. And I think this time Tabilo saves it with a serve on the line, so 2 breakpoints saved in this game already. But it's a shank from Tabilo to give Baez another opportunity to break back, to break right back as well, to like literally not spend more than one game behind the break. 2 chances have come and gone already. The big one being the second serve return that Baez just flopped completely on. However, of course, the next one kinda ungettable with the serve on the line. He finds the first serve and yeah, just cleans it up. This is a bit too good, of course. The lefty spin out wide, and even if Baez, you feel like this might be a pretty decent return, it just sits up there for Tabilo. It's a fairly similar forehand actually to one that he missed earlier for, I think, to go a breakpoint down in this game. Not that previous one wasn't as pleasant though. Game point Tabilo now. So 3 opportunities for Sebastian Baez have evaporated, and he might be in danger of not getting more. And in fact, that's precisely what happens. 5-2 Alejandro Tabilo. With another solid serve, Baez can't make the return. Did you see Federer playing table tennis? Would you be able to take him? He was actually hitting pretty well. If that recent video, I've seen him play before, and honestly, to that question, I kind of don't know the answer because it's super hard to tell. Like even when you're sitting and watching someone play, sometimes the level can be so hard to estimate. I mean, I remember I don't know, someone comes to our training session for the first time and they're like playing against someone. I'm watching them, off the bench, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I mean, I'm never beating that guy, and then suddenly, I'm winning, or the other way around. So I honestly cannot answer this question. I feel like I would be putting the pressure on myself. Like I would feel like, okay, this guy is he doesn't play table tennis. Like I should be able to rush him. That's how I would feel playing. But he's clearly got amazing hands anyway. So maybe he would actually do it. I really don't know. I would hope so, but I wouldn't be confident either. The ball striking on that video was actually pretty insane. Of course, it was like 2 or 3 shots. It wasn't, actual point play in terms of like, a normal serve return. I hope that I would be able to win, but I really have absolutely zero clue. So 5-2 Baez. Obviously, he didn't restore the break and now finds himself in a very rough spot. And it's 14-12 to Carlos Alcaraz in that incredible Netflix Slam final. Everyone was so eager to find out the score there. It is 14-12 Carlos Alcaraz. And I mean, now that he's won the Netflix Slam, surely he's winning Indian Wells. But in case anyone is interested in the real matches, of course, we are watching Santiago, and soon enough there's also going to be that final in San Diego, which one of my lookalikes for today, Alex Deminor, will be watching from the stands with his girlfriend in attendance. Well, with his girlfriend in attendance, with him in attendance, because his girlfriend will be on the court. His girlfriend will be playing Alejandro, playing Marta Kostiuk. I see that John also, before he went, he put up this banner, which I have to eliminate because it was just showing us a very, very unreliable, well, outdated, let's say, score. But I will update it for now. That is until John gets here, because he should be here soon after the Netflix Slam is wrapped up, and it has been wrapped up, of course. So he's probably just, following up on the last couple of points. Anyway, we have it now. Alejandro Tabilo serving for the set. Last game, he has to save 3 break points, manages to do it all. Mostly with good serving. That one opportunity for Baez, he doesn't really let us know how the point would have played out, as he misses the second serve return. After that, he has no play on the next 2. So basically, it's break here or bust when it comes to the opening sets. And so far, we are definitely steering in that second B direction, in that bust category, as well. The first 2 points are just free for Tabilo on serve. Baez gets the next point though, deep return, just forcing the error. Kinda, the rhythm has been kinda off for the past couple of minutes. It's usually some very quick errors from either side, really. If anything, it kind of suits Tabilo probably here, given that, he's the guy who kind of wants to keep the points short there, and wouldn't generally back himself in these longer rallies. And right now, with Baez kind of out of rhythm, maybe that's not true anymore. Maybe that doesn't hold up. Baez tries to go for this inside-out forehand return, but he doesn't really do enough with it. Tabilo has a comfortable position to redirect, go down the line, gets the point done, and has a couple of set points to go 1 set away from claiming his second ATP Tour title. Of course, the first one being Auckland, also this year. By slicing his return, and he throws out this next backhand also without that much on it. Anyway, 6-3 Tabilo. Pretty close set. I mean, 6-3 might be slightly misleading. He definitely did not dominate it, but as a whole, he did create more chances. Baez only really had that one game where he could break back right away, and of course, he did not come close. Well, I mean, what am I talking about? He came very close. What am I talking about? Sometimes I don't understand myself, but yeah, I am pretty tired. However, it's good. It's good that I will be sitting here until the end of the match, because I have to move my sleeping schedule again to be able to watch Indian Wells the next couple of days. Tomorrow, the qualifying will be starting, of course. And for that, I will need some more power. And my sleep for today, especially, to start later. In Santiago, we have a rain delay between Marta Kostiuk and Katie Bolter. so the final might not start on time. In fact, I think it's already guaranteed not to start on time. But that's fine. Some replays on our screen from Tabilo and Baez, the end of the set, especially when Tabilo takes it. The Chilean flag is waving here in the background as he's got such a great opportunity to pick up his first title on home soil, to pick up his second title overall, his first on clay. And, well, he's up a set. Interesting point from someone on Twitter that I just saw was about that no one can find argument about their argument. That's when you're watching on Netflix, you're probably not going to have any delay like we might have with all the stupid broadcasting services that we have all around the world, especially Talking Tennis Channel looking at you. I almost said Talking Tennis Channel. Maybe if we go super huge, maybe we can actually buy Tennis Channel and call it Talking Tennis Channel. Because after all, most that they do on that channel is talking.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, Damien?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Damien, what's going on with this thing on top of your lip?
Yeah, Jordan Thompson, Steve Johnson, Alex de Minaur. Hall of Fame.
Demonor? I don't recall Demonor. Maybe
Oh, Google it.
Okay.
He was basically cosplaying Steve Johnson. Like they kind of looked pretty similar at that time. I don't know if there's anyone else really that comes to mind right away, but these three for sure.
What have I missed in the first set? I see. Baez obviously going for back-to-back titles, but not things going his way.
How
so
many
far.
of these were back to back? What did you?
I said he's going for back-to-back titles.
Okay, never mind. Yeah. Never mind then. Yeah. But honestly, like I don't know. I was just looking at it. I don't think tiredness should be a factor, nor was it a factor so far.
Okay.
Definitely was a bit tighter. I mean, Baez after dropping that 4-2 break, well, 3-2 break, I guess. Then he had 3 break points to get it right back, and he didn't take them. So it's kind of it's kind of built all even, and just more important moments were taken by Tabilo. Baez, sort of similarly to Muta, is not necessarily winning all the longer exchanges with Tabilo either. So it's not ideal for him for sure. Still, of course, with a big chance. Let's see how Tabilo also reacts to the possibility of winning this title.
What have you made of the tournament as a whole? I mean, there's a lot of comments about the court at the beginning. Those seem to have quietened down a little bit. And then we had the whole Mute Jarry thing on Friday, which gave us a bit of entertainment. I don't know where you stand on that. And just the tournament as a whole, because you've probably seen far more of it than I have.
I mean, tournament as a whole, I mean, it's just one more Golden Swing event. Obviously, the field isn't as good as in Buenos Aires or Rio, but it's also not that far removed. So, it's also one of the faster clay events on the main tour. So that's also kind of fun to see it.
Have we seen anything from anyone where we're now going, okay, I'm really interested to see how he is going to do at Roland Garros this year?
Roland Garros, maybe not, but let's say like Indian Wells, Tabilo, Baez. Well, yeah, sure. Roland Garros, maybe Baez, right? I mean, that doesn't really reflect on Santiago. That's probably on his golden swing as a whole. Like, yeah, you're kind of interested to see if he can finally get some runs at the 1,000 level, if he can get some slam run. So yeah, I guess Baez would be a good answer for that.
Yeah.
As I'm saying this, he hits this pretty ridiculous forehand pass. Of
Have
course,
you answered this question from Sean, by the way?
yeah. I've
Okay.
answered everything.
Okay.
I actually haven't answered it technically because I said that I don't know, but I did try to answer it. Let's say that. But yeah, you were also saying about the Mute Jari thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't personally. I'm not that big a fan of crowds that are like this partisan. Like, I think respect should be shown to both players. You know,
Yeah, the
maybe
problem I
instead.
have with them booing his underarm serve at the beginning of the match. I mean, what's that
I
all
mean,
about?
how is that a problem?
What, them booing it or him doing it?
Him doing it.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Uh,
I just don't. They just don't realize that that's just a shot in the sport that is completely legitimate.
And if you're Corentin Mute, you pretty much go for it every match at least once. Plus, I mean, he won the point, right? I mean, he got an
Yeah,
ace
right.
with it. Like,
And if you don't win the point, that's also just like you could do it. You could go a big second serve, and you might win the point. You might not. But yeah.
no one
Anyway,
is going to boo you for that. Yeah.
no, right. Yeah, you double fault because you went big on the second serve. But 90% of the crowd won't even know you've gone big on the second serve, and that's why you double faulted.
Yeah, exactly. So they actually might boo you if it's like, well, they won't boo you for a double fault, but let's imagine it's, it's technically a possibility, but of course you're very right that they wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean, as a whole, it definitely adds to the atmosphere of the venue of the event that we have such circumstances. However, I generally prefer my crowds to be a little more respectful towards both players. Then again, like if you're Corentin Mute, you kind of have to live with that because by the time you're like, what, how old is Mute? 25, 24? By the time you're like 25 or 25, you basically have pissed off a lot of people already on the tennis tour. And I mean, if you're Mute, if you're acting the way he is often, you kind of just have to take it on the chin because that's going to happen to you. That simply is going to happen regardless of what you do, really. I mean, unless you really calm yourself down and not provoke it in any way. And we know that Mute is kind of provoking it, maybe not necessarily on the first point of the match, yeah, sure, but like in general with his behavior a lot of the time. So
he's a character. Of course, I'm surprised you're up for commentating on this one, given it happened at the same time as the Netflix slam, which I know you would have been crazy about.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to watch the Netflix slam, but then you text me, Santiago fine. I'm like, okay.
A tennis match against an exhibition, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, but keep me posted about the Netflix slam. That's what I said. Yeah. What's your experience with watching that, and maybe both as a package, as an experience, for the viewer, but also, just did we actually get any intel on Nadal or Alcaraz going into Indian Wells?
I am back again. I just had a slight internet issue, but I'm back. What was that about Indian Wells?
Basically, I was asking you, like, what did you think of that whole thing about the Netflix slam as a view, as a like a entertainment package, but also like, did we actually get any intel for either of the guys ahead of Indian Wells?
To be honest with you, most importantly is the second question, the show itself. Yeah, it's a show, and that's it. And it's a show with millions and millions of dollars thrown at it, because I heard some people going, "Oh, it's great that they got Agassi and Roddick," and it's like, yeah, well, you give Talking Tennis a budget like that, and I'll get you Agassi and Roddick from time to time as well. But regarding Indian Wells, I think there was really only ever likely to be 2 or 3 conclusions, and a lot of them would be negative, if you like. The only way we were never going to, if Alcaraz won 6-2, 6-1 and pulled off some amazing stuff, you just go, yeah, it's an exhibition, doesn't really tell us anything. If if the match turns out, if Nadal wins it, you might be looking a bit more negatively at Carlos than positively about Rafa. The only thing about Rafa was ever going to be, does he get hurt? Does he flare up the injury? Because at the moment, his track record of his last 10 matches over a period of 18 months, probably 3 or 4 of them, he's flaring something up. And that didn't happen. Do you see Rafa running all over the court, chasing balls down and going, okay, we're seeing a bit more of the first half of 2022 Rafa rather than the second half of 2022 or what we saw in Brisbane. And we didn't really see any of that either. What we saw is Rafa not getting hurt and showing an okay level. But given the conditions and the situation, can he win a match at Indian Wells? I guess it depends on who he plays in the first round. And that was the same question and the same answer 2 hours ago.
Sure. I've just seen a pretty ridiculous backhand overhead from Baez, and he now has 2 breakpoints. Kind of reminds me of Wawrinka against Federer in Monte Carlo 2014. Just, pretty ridiculous angle. When he was hitting it, I just never really thought it would make it into the court.
Who won that match?
Wawrinka, it was his only ATP 1000 title.
Okay, I remember watching a clip of them warming up for that particular. Did they warm up together? Did they hit together in the morning of that match? I think I've seen a video. Yeah, of them hitting together. I think, which is really odd for 2 players that can contest a final to hit together on the morning of a match.
Yeah, it basically never happens. I mean, the same court, yeah, but no, not against each other. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if we ever saw like a final between 2 brothers, Misha Zverev plays Alexander Zverev somewhere. It's the Serundolos or something like that. I
could be wrong. I hope I'm not spreading fake news, but I'm pretty sure that they hit together on the morning of that match.
Maybe. Murkel Delian will play Hugo Delian right now in the first round of Santa Cruz. Maybe they will be hitting with each other pre-match. It's possible. But yeah, Baez here with the break actually finds this nice drop shot after a very high octane rally and just sort of completely stumps Tabilo with it. So we might be looking at like a complete shift of momentum, and Baez now really pulling ahead.
Is the only time Stan beat Federer?
No. I mean, he's beaten him like what, 6 times? My guess would be. I don't know. No, 4 times, I think, because he's only ever beat him on clay. He never beat him on grass. He never beat him on clay, on hard courts. So he's only beaten him on clay. But he beat him at Roland Garros 2015. He beat him at Monte Carlo 2014. And he beat him like a couple more times on clay. That's basically my answer. It was like 24-4 or whatever, or something like that, I think. Definitely never beat him on hard courts or on grass. But I will check now. I think there might be like a Rome match or something like that as well. So it's free, actually, not 23 and free. And that third one that I'm forgetting is also Monte Carlo 2019. 2009, I mean, not 2019, of course. So yeah, these 2 matches that I mentioned, Monte Carlo and Roland Garros, and Monte Carlo 2009 as well. Which makes sense. I mean, I said Rome because I was thinking like, Monte Carlo, Rome, these sort of clay conditions probably can beat him. Madrid, not necessarily. And of course, Roland Garros, yeah, that was a big win, especially not I think not even dropping his serve, maybe. Definitely not dropping a set in 2015 in the quarterfinals on the way to the title.
My stream is suddenly not working, so I'm just in the middle of fixing that.
No, Sebastian Baez just has gone up 3-love, basically dominating the second set so far without any real trouble. Some sensational shots to break, and now he's really in control for now. First set only had 1 break, I think, of course, going Tabilo's way, but it had a lot of break points. 1 out of 7, I think Tabilo was, and 0 out of 3 Baez.
Who are you looking forward to seeing in Indian Wells? Or what are you looking forward to about the tournament in general?
The qualifying draw, it should come out today. That's probably
Yeah.
the thing that interests me the most for now. As for, was there any actual player? I mean, Menchik got a wild card. That's
He did get one,
definitely
did he?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one. But otherwise, I don't know if there's any like specific player that I really, really want to see in Indian Wells. I mean, maybe also Nakashima getting a wild card sort of after that prolonged challenger stretch, getting back to the main tour. That will be quite exciting. And otherwise, yeah, I'm probably just most interested in how the qualifying draw will look like, honestly.
Yeah. When is the first round? Is that Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday, maybe.
Wednesday.
Or Wednesday.
You've got the women's starting today qualifying, but men's will start tomorrow, and it's of course it is like spaced out a little bit. So like the women's start one day earlier, every round basically until like whatever stage. I actually haven't checked that, but that's how it is usually. And yeah, men start on Wednesday after 2 days of qualifying, of course.
Yeah. Gene is saying that exhibition was so scripted. I mean, I didn't feel as though it was scripted at any point. I mean, what he's saying a third set, deciding set tiebreak. Go on, what were we going to say?
I mean, by the time we get to the tiebreak, probably no, but just the sheer fact that it had to go free, or like, at least had to be pretty close. Like they would never allow an exhibition to be 6-2, 6-2, because well, this is a huge event, and as you said, I mean, ludicrous amount of money going into it, really. Also, even to like play to get these players, right? Because if you think about it, like Nadal, Alcaraz, they are so rich. Like, how do you even get them to play an event like this? And well, obviously the stakes must be insane. And when it comes to just the sheer, maybe let's say, how many people watched it outside of tennis, probably, like I would imagine that there's going to be a large group of non let's say very casual or like even non-tennis viewers who actually caught that, at least a glimpse of that on the Netflix platform. Like they just wouldn't allow it to be lopsided. They wouldn't allow it to be a stinker. I don't think that it's it's unrealistic to call it a little scripted.
Yeah, I just didn't feel it during points, but yeah, it wasn't on my mind.
It's have you ever seen an exhibition that is a beatdown? I mean, no.
True.
There have been some in 2 sets for sure. I don't know, like 6-3, 7-6. Sure, it happens. I think maybe that was actually the scoreline of Murray Federer one year. But in general, it always goes free, or it's just a competitive 2-set match because, well, they just like that's not what the event is for, right?
Sure.
The event is not for watching a 6-1 win for whichever player.
I didn't see that gap though either. In terms of, I didn't see Alcaraz, because it's obviously Alcaraz who we're thinking if someone's going to get a beat down, it's going to be Rafa on the receiving end.
Oh yeah, other way around probably it's impossible.
No, I didn't see that level though from Carlos today. Now, whether that's him holding back or because of a script, or yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I would expect is maybe Carlos going for his shots a bit more, to lend itself towards a script, if you like, as in like, you know what, go for your shots a bit more, and if they're spectacular and you win the point, great. If they're wild and you end up getting broken serve 2 or 3 times in the first set, great. But I didn't see that. I didn't see him going for, I've seen him go for shots that are far riskier in a quarterfinal of a slam than I did today.
Baez is going for his shots now, and like he's landing everything. Breaks Tabilo again with this lob on the run. So 4 love up, and kind of seems like he can't waste this second set now.
What happened? What happened in that Tabilo match yesterday, by the way? Because that had a rather dramatic ending to it.
Yeah. Mute went up 4-2 in the third.
Yeah.
There was this one game which like Tabilo just completely gave away. Just had 0 business staying in that match at one point, but then he actually, brought his composure again and was able to be a lot more consistent. I think Mute and his coach Petar Popovic were expecting him to. Like Mute was just, constantly trying to set up these forehands for himself against the Tabilo backhand and then maybe capitalize on that. But it was solid, and Mute still kind of lacks a bit of a punch, let's say, that I don't know if his game ever really had, but it really hurt him last night for sure. And especially when it came like to the most important moments, it was always Mute just, not winning these longer rallies anymore. It was just Mute struggling to
if it's difficult to
make the
draw
court.
too many positive conclusions from this swing, I think we might be able to draw one or two maybe slightly concerning negative ones. Nicholas Jarry is someone who I would say his form wasn't great going into this swing, but then suddenly he beats Alcaraz and everything looks rosy until he puts in the performance he did in the final in Buenos Aires, follows that up with an early-ish exit in Rio, and then doesn't make the semis at his home tournament.
Rio was Hanfman in the first round, or
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. I actually was expecting you to say Arthur Fils just right away, and
Fils again. Yeah, Fils was sort of showing some concerns before this. Although I guess a little bit with Jarry too. But I know he get to a semi-final somewhere recently in Montpellier. Where did he
Auckland.
Get Auckland. Okay.
Auckland. He lost to Tabilo. Sort of on the topic, but yeah. I mean, Fils, I don't know if he was showing too much. I mean, the sheer idea to go to the Golden Swing, like, I don't really buy people right now saying, oh, why did he go there? Like, it didn't seem as horrible as the end result is, even though it is definitely quite controversial given how strong he looked in February last year and also how strong he is on slow indoor courts in general. But I think he's definitely the main loser of the Golden Swing so far. With, of course, the main winner being Sebastian Baez and a lot of guys like Diaz Acosta, Darderi, Navone. Tabilo was kind of like doing nothing until this event, but of course this already does also kind of put him on the positive side of things. And I think for Jarry, it's just acceptable, like because of the final. We take that final away, and of course it's absolute trash for him, but...
I don't know. I just think the performance in the final was not. He didn't show up until the last game of the match, basically.
It wasn't, but it's a final.
Yeah. And then quarterfinal defeat to Mute in Santiago.
Yeah, I mean, it has to hurt extra because it's Santiago, but well, who knows? Maybe that contributes as well. I mean, last year it kind of did. Again, like, there's no shot on the planet that Sebastian Baez seemingly can't hit at the moment. He's 5-love and love 15 as well in the Tabilo service game. If he goes, if he wins this with a bagel, he would start the third set on serve again. So, but that would be a very wild bagel. Like, that would just be, completely out of nowhere.
You didn't see it coming then from what we saw in the first set.
I mean, is it possible to see it coming from a 3-6 set that someone loses, to see a bagel for him in the next set? Probably no, right? I mean, what's the theoretical scenario where this happens?
This is such a Boris Becker tweet, by the way. I think I can share it. Yeah,
the Netflix one. I love that.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah. I loved it because he literally tweeted it at the worst possible moment. Like, well, I don't know if the worst, but at the most ironic, let's say.
Okay. I mean, I could also hear his voice in it as well. Let's see which Spaniard going to win. Because I think.
Oh no! So you're actually not talking about this one. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Then show me that. Yeah.
Tweet. What was his tweet then? Nadal's playing unbelievably, and then he
his tweet wasn't even like a joke or anything. It was kind of unrelated to Alcaraz and Nadal, actually. But just as this match was starting, he tweeted, just watched the movie Reptile on Netflix with Benicio del Toro, Justin Timberlake, and few others. Must watch. and like yeah, that actually made me laugh.
He's a
it's
very random person.
it's 3 set points now for Baez, by the way. So we might be getting that bagel indeed. And yeah, I mean, he's just so animated right now. He gets to that shot from Tabilo, and he like just fires another insane forehand counter. I mean, I don't know what that set was, but that was just Baez playing with so much confidence and landing every single shot imaginable. So we are going into the third set. I think the second lasted like maybe 20 minutes, honestly. I don't know if we are going to be able to check it because the time of the, yeah, I think the timing of the toilet break might be included as well. But I think it was like 20 minutes virtually. So maybe it was a joke from Boris as well because like the
Which
next
Spaniard's
tweet.
going to win?
No. I mean
Yeah.
the just watch the movie Reptile because the next tweet is obviously I am watching the match between Rafael Nadal versus Carlos Alcaraz. But that tweet was already during the match. Uh, I don't know. It was definitely quite funny to me.
Maybe, yeah.
Which Spaniard is gonna win? By the way, I don't even see that.
Yes. And
This one. Yeah. Okay. So it is this one. Okay. Never mind. I stopped reading after the first sentence. I am so, Gen Z or whatever it is that I'm from. I don't even know. But I basically stopped reading the tweet after the first sentence, and that's why I didn't see. Let's see which Spaniard gonna win. But yeah, now I must watch the movie Reptile. I definitely want to see it now.
Sean asked us during the Netflix Slam match, Michael Douglas best film.
Ooh, I haven't like. Okay, I will say what came to mind right away. Okay.
Okay, and I think it's the same one as me. Is it Falling Down?
No. Oh, I also wanted to say Falling Down. Yes, I also wanted
Yeah,
to say Falling Down.
that was my gut reaction, but I was
Yeah.
I was reticent, so I wanted to check his filmography, if you like, or his background. And once I checked, I then still stuck with Falling Down.
I will check as well because some other things come to mind, but it's not like it's not that level. But this also might be prompted by the fact that very recently I was just I don't know I saw a still somewhere from Falling Down and I was like, oh, I have to rewatch that. So probably this is also prompted by that. But yeah, it might be that my answer is still that after I check the actual filmography. Yes,
He was in the
absolutely.
crowd, so it wasn't a completely random question.
I know because I saw a lot of tweets about him and Catherine Zeta-Jones. So.
Yeah. The second most famous Welsh person after Jake.
I've heard about Gareth Bale, but okay, Jake works as well.
Diggs, yeah.
And now that I'm looking at his filmography, it's like kind of, he's a very famous actor, of course, but like, does he really have any classic movies other than?
No, it's a lot of movies where he's being seduced by a woman who's maybe a bit dodgy.
Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct.
All of the film covers look very similar as well. There's sort of him being whispered in the ear, basically, by some very sort of
that's
woman.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess there's really no other option. Like I remember The Game as well. That's Fincher's, right? But like that, I don't really care about that movie all that much. It's definitely not one of Fincher's best.
Two people jumped in the chat and immediately said The Game. One of them was Tom Grant, and it might have been Sean. No, might have been Jake. Somebody. Oh no, Terry. Now I knew it'd be one of the classics. So Terry and Tom jumped in immediately and said The Game. I've never seen it, so I don't know.
It's fine, it's definitely a very Fincher movie in that it has a massive plot twist and of course I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, it's that type of movie. I think it's fine, it's just okay. But yeah, definitely I was sort of expecting to find more candidates looking at that filmography. That I was just forgetting something, but kind of seems like a lot of these Fatal Attractions, Basic Instincts, like they're okay, but they're not like prime time cinema, and like they're not too ambitious for the most part. I suppose Wall Street maybe could be an answer, but yeah, for me it's definitely falling down then.
Is Tabilo in the middle of a fall down?
We'll see. I mean, maybe he will get himself back up as they are actually just starting. Sebastian Baez sort of once again coming to serve. I mean, who would have thought that when he did that 6 games ago, we would be in the third set already?
My stream, of course, is a few seconds behind. I've got the players coming back on court, but I can see the first point's already been done.
Yeah.
Packed crowds, pretty much. I mean, Rio was packed every day, every stadium, everywhere. But even this tournament in Chile, I would say there were some days earlier in the tournament in Santiago, but whenever Stan or Carlos were playing, was pretty packed.
In
And
Santiago?
the semi-finals, in Buenos Aires, semi-finals and final were both sold out. So it was just, maybe Monday, Tuesday when Carlos and Stan weren't playing. And that's also a country that's, of course, suffering crippling financial issues. So pretty much packed everywhere throughout this Golden Swing. I'm not sure about Cordoba.
Yeah, I don't really remember how it was in Cordoba anymore either. But no, there had to be a lot of people because there was that big thing with Darderi, right? And how, he just talked about his, citizenship thing. And there were definitely a lot of people in the final. I mean, Santiago, it's like a bit more obvious here because you have Tabilo still in the tournament. You had Jari, who is of course from Santiago and basically a big hometown hero. So definitely in Santiago, they've been keeping up the interest. I have no clue what the attendance would be if let's say it was who lost to? Oh, Mute against Martinez, but for Tabilo Baez, they definitely showed up.
Yeah.
And also, it's just the singles final today. That's kind of unusual for main tour events, I think. So.
Oh, right. No, doubles final.
Yeah, yesterday the doubles final was played already.
Yeah.
So. And also featured 3 Chileans. So.
Yeah,
He
Tabilo
featured
gave his press conference and his doubles partner joined kind of at some point as well.
The doubles partner who shall remain nameless.
No,
I already talked about it at the beginning of the stream, so.
Did you? What do you have to say?
No, I mean, I just mentioned, the doubles final and like the storylines from that, more or less. Soto was like playing his second doubles final in Santiago after losing with Seibovic last year as well. Of course, for Tabilo and Barrios Vera, this is like the biggest run of their careers as well in doubles by a country mile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tabilo is showing some signs of life this game. Still hasn't taken him too much, and but it's deuce now, and definitely, especially that forehand for 30-15 was like, okay, so he is back. He had a bit of a cool down, but he is back. Oh, and it's a double fault for Baez. So gonna be breakpoint Tabilo. I would assume that this set is not as as quick as the previous one, but after the previous one, I'm like sort of looking at this break and I'm okay. So if he gets broken, it might be over in 20 minutes. But even Sebastian Baez can find some big serves under pressure sometimes.
if it's not, okay, here we go. If it's not Sinner, Novak, Carlos, or Daniil, who's the next person in line to win Indian Wells?
Yeah, I saw where you were. I was able to see where you were going to get with that. However, I still don't know what my answer is. Rublev, I feel like he hasn't done too well in Indian Wells, right? I mean, I don't think that's really explainable in any way. Like, he's good in any conditions in the world, but I feel like he hasn't done all that well in Indian Wells. I have to check if he has any solid records. But by the way, Baez holds in the meantime. And but yeah, I mean, otherwise, Zverev did have a pretty poor Mexican swing. Rune showed real signs of improvement. I mean, Rune is definitely a factor, I think. I hope so, at least in terms of the
You think Rune's a
physicality.
factor?
After Acapulco, I think so. Like, he again lost to basically, physical woes, and it was the Mexico conditions. I think he should be a factor. I think that was definitely the best week that he had in a while. You get someone like Hurkacz, a decent draw, and he's still a threat. There's also what was the guy that I wanted to mention? Oh, Casper Ruud, actually. I think Indian Wells, right? That should be a good mix with him as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not winning it though. I mean, I guess the question with those four, I just can't see.
No, I was thinking of winners potentially. I wasn't thinking of deep runs. I mean, maybe. Of course, the question itself started with like a pretty unrealistic. Maybe not unrealistic is a stretch, but like with something that is not likely to happen. So I was basically looking for answers that weren't likely.
Yeah, because I can't see Casper Ruud winning it, but that's because of those four players.
Ruud has a 4-3 record in Indian Wells, so not great. But then again, fourth round, third round. I guess it's much better than his Cincinnati record, for example, or even Paris. Yeah, I mean, he kind of, other than Rome, he doesn't have any standout records on at the ATP 1000 level anyway. And I have to check Rublev because I don't remember any run from Indian Wells for him. Like, literally nothing comes to mind. Miami a few times, sure, but I don't remember any big Indian Wells results. And I guess, there was a semi-final in 2022, 8-5 as a whole. So not amazing, either. But yeah, there was a semi at least. I think Rublev is probably one of the main answers here, for sure. I don't think Ugo Humbert can win it. Miami, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Jack is
Sebastian
a bit down
Baez.
on Ugo Humbert. Jack thinks the whole Humbert thing is not sustainable, not real.
I actually said something very different on the previous whatever it was, watch along probably. But I basically said that to me, what Humbert is doing right now, like, isn't anything crazy. It's hard for me to call it unsustainable because he kind of hasn't done anything, ridiculous yet. Like, sure, he's winning more titles, yes, but he still doesn't have a big slam run. He still doesn't have a big ATP 1000 run. He won against Medvedev, whom he had a positive head-to-head record against. Let's remember he saved 3 match points against Hurkacz, right? And one of them on return as well. So it's not like he's been, unstoppable and showed form that would make us think that he's gonna win Miami or win Roland Garros, maybe not, but Wimbledon. Like, sure, he could have runs in these events.
Is Baez going to win an 8th game in a row?
That's how it would appear for now. Smart drop shot there to like go love 30, 30 love up, let's call it. And then there was also a tricky line call with Tabilo arguing with the umpire. But he has saved 2 break points already, so this is kind of massively crucial point. Yeah. Oh, that's just horrible. I mean, you're gonna see it in a second, but yeah, he lost his mind there. I'm not saying this is always the wrong play, but I just don't really know what he was aiming for and what the goal was, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't know himself.
I've got 30-40, so I'm about to see it.
Yeah.
But I can guess who it's from. I'm not even looking at the scoreboard, but I can still guess who wins this game. Or I can guess who wins this point. Oh dear, yeah. I thought he was going for a drop shot the way he got his body ready, and he's gone for the way he shaped his body was he's going for a drop shot, and if he was, well, he's just put a drop shot beyond the baseline.
No, that's actually likely by design. I mean, he hit this a couple of times against Mute as well, faking a drop shot and then just extending the motion. But was that even, a possibility here? Like, was Baez ever gonna not get to that shot because of that fake out? I don't know. I mean, it all looked super clumsy and just kind of like, yeah. I mean, your break point down in the third, you've lost the last 7 games and you're just kind of out of sorts mentally as well by now. But we'll see. I mean, maybe he can still react, but this is 8 games in a row now. And obviously, after winning the opening set, this was completely out of nowhere. But yeah, against Mute, he hit this a couple of times, just in much better spots. He was closer to the net. So like when he was lining up for that drop shot, Mute was either already running or already really certain that Tabilo was going to play the dropper. But here it was just like, threw it away, basically. Tabilo out of gas. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, honestly, in the second set, Baez was just incredible. Baez was hitting everything in the second set. Does it seem right now to you that Tabilo is out of gas? I mean, not really. Right now he misses another backhand down the line just by like a tiny bit. I don't know. I mean, we haven't really seen any obvious signs of fatigue.
I mean, could we see Baez having a career as good as Casper Ruud's with a lucky slam final in there somewhere? I mean, obviously, I'm thinking Roland Garros with the draw opening up.
It's very tough. I feel like soon enough we might start talking about Diego Schwartzman-like results, and not that they are necessarily that similar to each other in terms of the play style, but like, yeah, that's kind of what we can sort of start talking about, I think. But Casper, yeah, I mean, Casper getting 3 slam finals in the first place is just pretty insane. And I just don't know if Sebastian Baez making a slam final is ever really possible. I mean, it's just not that sort of caliber, right? I mean, even watching this guy here, I mean, imagine him winning 6 matches in a row in best of 5. Like, he's gonna run into someone who was probably not in the golden swing, right? Because of course the quality of the competition here, let's be honest, is pretty weak compared to an ATP 1000 on clay compared to a slam.
If Baez played Tsitsipas tomorrow on a clay court, let's say they play each other in Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo, maybe I would lean towards Steph.
Yeah, I'll go Steph, I think. But it's only like obviously it is a tricky question right now. Yes, Steph has generally been pretty good, I feel like, in these matchups. Like the Minor one, I know he's just lost to him, but like, yeah, the overall head-to-heads for him against guys like this, like guys he can pretty easily overpower and who kind of can't hurt him too much, he usually has very good records against them. So I guess I would still expect him to pick himself up somehow. Against Baez, he's played twice. Madrid 3 sets, actually, 2023, and also Australian Open 2022, 4 sets. I guess Baez just found 2 more lines. I don't know. I mean, the umpire is coming down. Definitely with the previous backhand, but this one, yeah, also once again on the line. So 9 games in a row by now for the soon-to-be top 20 debutant. I would assume so.
Where's Bublik right now in the rankings?
They will both break the top 20 if Baez wins today. They will both pass Adrian Manarino simply. And in fact, Baez will be...
I wasn't sure if Baez, by winning this, was going to squeeze Bublik back out.
No. They will both pass Manarino, actually. But Bublik secured it by beating Rublev, or technically by Rublev getting defaulted. But yeah, Baez will pass him by 1 point. So Baez will actually be the new 19 and Bublik will be the 20.
If I played Andrei Rublev and he did that after the first point,
Official win in the head-to-head. Official win in the head-to-head, yes.
I can't believe he'd be that tense, though, after the first point.
You probably wouldn't make him that tense. Yeah, you probably wouldn't make him that tense. Unless you said something to him, but honestly, I don't know what you could say to him. Like, it's not like, Kyrgios Wawrinka and stuff. Like, to Andrei Rublev, I mean, what would you say, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joshua in the chat saying that the major final seems fanatical. Yeah, but then again, if you said to someone that Casper was going to make 3 Grand Slam finals 2 or 3 years ago,
yeah,
no one would believe it. So, things happen.
I know it, and I would agree. It is, yeah.
I don't buy it though. Like Casper, yeah, I mean, the weaponry is just insanely stronger than Baez's. I don't think it's really a possibility.
Casper's serve is all right, isn't it? Casper's serve is okay.
Let's be honest. I mean, everything about his game is okay. Like all-roundedly, he's fantastic.
Forehand is better than okay, right?
The forehand is absolutely amazing. I mean, to have that sort of spin and pace combination, and also just of course, it's not exactly a game that can usually beat the top 5 in the world, but otherwise, he's kind of as good as it gets, really. So,
I mean, there's a question here from Sean, which I think you've probably answered about 27 times over the last 12 months. So you can have great pleasure in answering it again.
What is Kaspar missing?
Everything apart from the forehand, right?
I mean, definitely the backhand is a bit of a hole, but like overall, I just think sometimes, there is a certain ceiling you reach as a player. You arrive at a stage where you're just kind of unable to break through because, well, you have a great shot, right? Of course, yes, you have a very spinny, heavy forehand. Everyone doesn't like playing against that, sure. But the top guys just are a lot more complete and they kind of overrun you. Like there's no real way for Ruud to beat Djokovic. There's no real way for Ruud to beat healthy Nadal. There's probably no way for him to beat Alcaraz. I mean, Sinner, for now, he's been dominating the Rune matchup, but I don't really think it holds up in a few years. Someone like Medvedev, Zverev, they are also pretty rough usually for Casper. Like, of course, he beat Zverev pretty easily at Roland Garros last year, but in general, it's not going to be super easy. I mean, his peers are just better. I mean, I don't think Casper can really improve that much from here. Although against Deminor, for example, he played like a pretty stupid match. Like he was just trying to time and time again overwhelm him with just playing faster and faster on the forehand, which is not the essence of Ruud's game at all, right? I mean, Ruud should be like varying the heights a lot more, and especially in a slower court like that, just sort of approach it like a clay match. But he didn't. So, there's definitely some room for improvement there. And also his performance in the big matches at the Slam finals, like he could play them closer than that, right? Like he could come out believing he can win, actually. But yeah, I just think all his peers are better, really, the ones that he has to beat. And
I mean,
it's fine.
These are the players he beat to get to the French Open final in 2022. And even before I read this out, I want to say that Alex Zverev, Carlos Alcaraz, Rafa Nadal, and Novak Djokovic were all on the same side of the draw, all on a collision course in the quarterfinals. All of them got there. Zverev was playing the best tennis of his career, as was demonstrated in the fact that he was pushing Rafa in the semi and, of course, beat Alcaraz before that. And I don't think I need to explain anything about Rafa or Novak. Casper had Stefanos on his half of the draw, but Stefanos lost to Holger Rune. So Rude beat Wilfred Songa in the first round, who was basically on a farewell, well, not even tour, a farewell match.
Yeah, and got injured in the last 2
Songa did
games
really
of the
well.
match. Yeah. It was actually
Songa did
super
really well
close until Tsonga got injured in the last 2 games. Like his back gave out or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. I remember that was a difficult sort of end in a way to watch, because actually Songa, a healthy Songa possibly wins that match, and that's the first round. Anyway, Rusevori second round, Sonego third round, which was 5 sets, Hurkacz fourth round, which is obviously, Roland Garros, Holger Rune, and this is not the same Holger Rune now, but he was just starting to show something in that win over Tsitsipas, if you like, in the quarterfinal. And then, I mean, if you're going to play someone in the semi-final of the French Open, it's not too bad if you come up against Cilic. I'm not saying Cilic is not a stellar name, and no, Cilic at the US Open or Wimbledon, slightly different, but Cilic 2022 French Open, yeah. So that's his run there. The US Open, Yamur in the first round, second round Zeppieri, which went 4 sets. Jiping Shang third round, which again 2022, 2 years ago. I think it will be a bit more competitive now. Nicholas Shari in the fourth round.
That's 2023. So.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are right. I'm talking about the French Open. Anyway, nevertheless, 2023 French Open, fourth round, Jari, quarterfinal, Holger Rune. And this is a Holger Rune who's completely out of gas after his Cerundolo efforts, and also Eubanks as well, I think, pushed him a bit. And then semi-finals, Zverev, but Zverev was still, in my opinion, a long way off where I think he can be and even is right now. And that was 2023 French Open. And then 2022 US Open was Edmund and Van Wright Open in the first 2 rounds. Tommy Paul, third round, fair enough, but it did go 5. Moutet, of course, which is the one that got Bublik laughing, fourth round. Quarterfinal Berrettini, which actually, when it happened, was that's a statement win.
No, that's one of his best ever performances, really. And he deserves a lot of credit for that, for sure.
And then the semi-final, which isn't on my screen right now.
Of course, I was at the match. Karen
yeah. Which, for either of those to make the final, it's kind of like the draw opened up a bit. And nice.
It sounds horrible when you read it out like that. And it kind of is. But, of course, many a player have been sort of put into these positions. And many players have missed out. So, he deserves a lot of credit for getting to these 3 finals, for sure. But
because players have bottled it, to be fair, and he hasn't.
We shouldn't really think of it as a rule, though. Definitely more as an exception, I would assume.
Yeah. Now that
would be good though if he picks up a 500 somewhere, or any title bigger than 250, just to end that crappy storyline. Yes, Jake, by the way,
in a way, probably maybe his level is better than that storyline, but it's not as good as the 3 times Grand Slam storyline.
That's kind of how it feels like every time with Ruud. I remember that last year when he had that off season and he started the year pretty poorly. I remember tweeting something like very similar, that basically he's not as good as the 3 Grand Slam finals, but he's better than what he's doing right now. And like that kind of seems to be, a trend with Casper. Anytime he has a deep in form, like that's kind of what we say every time. He wasn't ever really that good, but he's better than this. And of course, right now, Acapulco, Los Cabos, he was actually kind of on top of his game. So it's a bit of a shame for him that he didn't grab a title at either event.
He's coming for Estoril.
Yeah, if he doesn't go too deep in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, let's have a look at the Estoril lineup to see who could be. I'm thinking about who could be going deep in. Hurkacz is the one that springs to mind.
I don't think we have the entry list yet, right? Do we?
I mean, no, maybe not the full entry list, but there's been like
just like a few player announcents. Yeah. Arthur Fils is among them. Obviously, we'll see João Sousa retiring. So it's also pretty big. The highest ranked Portuguese ever, still.
What did he get to?
29 would be my guess, somewhere along these lines.
Okay.
Yeah, and Baez still flying. Jake actually tweeted at me like 10 minutes ago that he's so fun to watch on clay. Certainly has been since the beginning of the second set, and what a patch it has been. Now 4-1 up, 30-15 as well. So could be a really amazing.
You
finish
don't
to
think
this
that
match.
Tabilo is necessarily running out of energy? Because people are
Third
asking
set
about
maybe.
what.
Third set maybe, but yeah, second set Baez was just really flying all over the court. And also, what would Tabilo really be? Well, I guess the doubles final as well. But well, right now he's definitely a bit down. You know, I don't know if it's energy or just he doesn't believe anymore. But
He's on the verge of losing
too
another
much
game.
points. Yeah, pretty much too much points. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we can call it. And it's a drop shot from Baez. Redrop for Tabilo. Baez gets to everything as usual. Tries to lob Tabilo. Tabilo smashes, and we're still playing the point. And actually, he will save himself with a great shot here. Like, if we're seeing any signs of fatigue, they kind of started happening like 2 or 3 games ago, you know? Not right away after the first set, because, well, also, why would they?
I thought Surundalo in the semi-final against Baez in Rio was,
Yeah, had a couple of set points, right, in the first set, and after that,
he just got so impatient in the second set. He almost just wanted to get off court. He's just hitting ridiculous shots into the net, into the tram lines. Just nothing was. He just got
Did he win a
impatient
game after that? Actually, I don't think he won a game after that, right? Like he
May well
had a
have been.
couple of set points, and I don't think he won a game after
Got
that.
bageled in the
Yeah.
He looked super short on confidence once he lost that. It wasn't. I'm not saying I'm not having a go entirely, but it's just like he just got so frustrated in that second set. Because the first set, I actually at one point was tipping him to win the first set and also probably the match. Some good depth there. Obviously, I'm watching probably a previous point to you, and Baez goes long there. So Tabilo does sort of stave off the pressure for now. Yeah, that's basically probably what I'm saying as well, I guess, reading between the lines. Surundalo kind of did check out. Particularly once he goes a breakdown. Baez has another break point, third one of the game.
Yeah, and they will be rallying for it. I'm still watching it, so it will be pretty long.
Ooh, Tabilo's getting himself out of trouble again.
Yeah, I don't know if you were already there when I was talking about this, but Baez will also, like, if he wins the title, he will be the number 5 player in the ATP race.
Yeah, I think I heard you say that, yeah. Or maybe I saw you tweet it, did you? Or maybe it was
No,
I think
didn't
I
tweet
heard it somewhere.
But it's possible someone tweeted it. Anyway, yeah, he's going to actually pass Hugo Humbert by 75 points if he wins it. Pretty wild, but yeah, 1,000 points in 2 months, essentially.
Do the points from the United Cup, they count for the I guess they count for the race, right?
Yeah, for everything, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are at a funny point in the season, but also careers of people like Novak Djokovic, where he basically plays the Australian Open and then doesn't necessarily play again until Indian Wells.
Yeah, Novak has 860 points, so however many it is right now from winning, from the semis in Australia, because they of course changed the round by round post distribution. It used to be 720, so I guess it will be now like 750 probably. I don't know. And also some points for the United Cup, yeah, beating Zhang and Lehechka, was it? Lehechka? I think Lehechka.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then he lost to the Minor. Great backhand dropper here from Baez, secures another match point.
Mini match point.
Well, yeah, mini match point. That's true.
So that was a nice drop shot. But Tabilo fights back. Again. No lacking in determination in this game. Which, if he is really struggling, would be easy for him to just go, you know what, a double break, whatever. The poll we had, by the way, for this match, which has been voted in quite a bit, is actually pretty close. 54% went for Baez.
How many votes?
Yeah, no, plenty of votes. No, I mean, I wouldn't mention it if it was like 2 votes. 41 votes.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, those polls are those polls can be skewed when someone has a favorite player, like a Naomi or an Iga sometimes. But
yeah, Tabilo probably isn't that guy. I mean, just from Twitter posts about him don't really seem to get engagement.
No.
So
another mini match point now for Seba.
Yeah, I would know because last year, of course, he won 4 challengers, so I was posting about him quite a lot.
All on clay?
Brasilia at the end of the year, hardcourts. That was his first challenger hardcourt title, but he had a couple of finals before in 2021, Puerto Vallarta and Lexington. But yeah, the other 3 were on clay. Karlsruhe, Francavilla Almare, and what was the 4th one? I don't remember, but probably something in South America, maybe Guayaquil.
Jake is jumping on the Baez train.
Yeah, he's like hardcore jumping on the Baez train the last couple of.
I don't remember him being on a Baez train before, but he might have been.
Jake I think he mentioned in Rio de Janeiro enjoying his game as well.
Oh, okay. But I also probably would say, like, I don't know if he was saying anything a year ago in his support of Baez. He might have been. I'm just saying. Jake, call me out.
Yeah, I like with most players. Like when Baez was breaking through to the tour, I was a big supporter. I was like really big on him. But then once he, got there, I'm like, yeah, now I have to move on to other players. The other players who are still sort of, not waiting to get to these stages.
Hey, Tabilo's held anyway. You want to see how excited Daniel Medvedev is to get caught in a selfie with Karen Khachanov? There you go.
Oh, should I look at the screen? Oh,
Yeah,
right.
you
Oh,
can do,
here.
yeah.
Oh, so they probably weren't flying together like Djokovic Nadal, right? They probably actually orchestrated the thing.
Probably, yeah. I mean, they were
Also,
probably
they
both
would both be,
set
yeah,
up well
exactly.
in
Yeah,
Dubai.
that's what I wanted to say too. Yeah, but I still don't believe that Nadal Djokovic thing. Actually,
What do you mean?
they must have done it on purpose.
You think they both deliberately got the same flight so they could share the same flight?
I don't know, maybe. Like I
Really?
don't know if
You think they
I'm not
texted
really.
each other just
I'm not saying
so they
that
could have one
honestly.
selfie? One
Yeah,
selfie?
I don't know if I'm saying that honestly, but just like a couple of, it was just a shower thought a couple of days ago. Like,
So,
what a
so you could.
coincidence,
So
really?
Novak changes his flight plans
No,
just
I
so he
mean,
can
I
take a
don't know,
selfie.
maybe like a PR stunt or whatever. I don't know. It was a shower thought, I didn't give that much
Yeah,
thought into it.
yeah.
I wasn't showering for long enough.
Do you think this picture will get with Karen Hatchanoff? You think it'll get as much traction?
Yes, of course. Everyone will be so eager to see it. And there will
Hatchanoff
be
and
memes,
Casper,
there
that would
will
be
be
great because then
Achalov
everyone
and
will be
Casper
going,
Ruud.
"Oh, a rematch of their US Open semi-final."
Yeah, or Casper Ruud and Tim van Rijthoven. Actually, if Tim van Rijthoven showed up, I would check out that photo because, well, he
Well,
was
yeah,
supposed
because
to
that would
return.
be. Is it when's he coming back?
Well, he initially announced that he would play at 25K in Faro in Portugal. Maybe that was already this week or the previous one even, but he's not in the draw also for next week's event. So, well, clearly he decided that he's not ready yet. There also have been in some retirement speculation, as in, he said that basically, like, if he can't play pain-free, he might just...
I mean, that is a long time. I mean, some point in 2022.
Yeah, that's a tough one. No, actually, 2020. Well, 2022, he had some signs of the injury already, but I think 2023, he's still at the beginning of the season. Plays Pune. He has a match for the top 100 against Karatsev, and I would say that his last match was probably Rotterdam, 2023. So a bit over a year by now. Yeah.
Okay. Did I read that maybe somewhere he was in pain though at the end of 2022? Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, the injury was already there. Like it wasn't just it didn't just show up.
Played well against Novak at Wimbledon. Novak was a bit confused at points in the first couple of sets. I mean, Novak pulled away in the end in the third and fourth, but Novak was befuddled at times. Baez holds a 5-2, so Tabilo is under big pressure again. Is Sin a favourite for Indian Wells right now?
Do you mean like in my opinion or the bookies or
your opinion first? I guess the bookies will go Novak.
Probably, yeah. I mean, if not for all that golden swing BS for Alcaraz, I probably would have said Alcaraz on these courts, but right now it's not really. Well, I mean, he's still an option. He might be pretty high, but I think the bookies generally consider form rather than surface conditions more.
But I still think they'll have Novak first. I'm guessing.
I would expect that as well. But I actually can't see it here because, well, the draw isn't out, so I guess that's why maybe, I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't see it here. I think there was one on a Polish book, though. I think I saw odds for that recently. I would also assume that Djokovic would be first for them. Yeah, Djokovic, then Sinner, then Alcaraz. Then Medvedev and then Nadal, haha. But
Really? No.
yeah, but like these outright odds are usually, kind of stupid. Like after a certain point, it doesn't really matter anymore.
No.
Like you just, whether one guy is 70 odds or whether one guy is 40 odds, like, yeah, it's not that big a deal. It doesn't even change the probabilities if you start counting it too much. But yeah, seems like Djokovic, Sinner, Alcaraz. That's probably a fair assumption to place them like that.
Yeah, Alcaraz's form is the main thing, and
yeah,
if he was not necessarily winning tournaments, but let's say he got to the final in Rio and got to the final in Buenos Aires and made the Aussie Open final or whatever, and was playing amazingly, but just occasionally had the odd blip, like he had again, like the Medvedev loss or the Djokovic loss in the US sort of period last year. Those two results fine, but then you sort of throw in one or two other losses and performances, like against Nicholas Sharry, Safiullin, although I think you've sort of said that can happen, especially on indoor, Paris Bercy. But it just sort of adds to the slightly wider malaise. And this is not me going, Carlos's career is done. It's just, I'm just talking about in isolation, Indian Wells. Why is he third favourite?
Tabilo, even credit to him, he's fighting, and he managed to he managed to get us to that last game where Baez will have to serve it out.
Yeah, nice backhand winner there, because it was quite a low bounce.
Yeah, hits it super flat, so it's actually cool for him, right?
Caught Nicholas Sharry's father?
Grandfather.
Oh, grandfather, okay.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know how Nicolas Jarry's father is called, but there is a son of Jaime Phil who is called Jaime Phil Jr. But I don't know if it's Jarry's father, actually. I don't know if it's Nicolas's father. But it might be another son, I think. But anyway, yeah, it's after the grandpa.
Baez trying to serve it out. Anyway, he's having a couple of issues at the moment. So are we going to see a turnaround like we saw yesterday?
Yeah, and speaking of massive backhand winners, the one that Tabilo clinched the 5-3 game with was not the last one he hit in this match.
Okay. Well, there was a funny bounce there as well. A lovely backhand winner, though. But there was a funny bounce there for Baez. Baez is now 2 points away. Is he in charge of this rally? Not quite. And we will get a break point for Tabilo. So this is an interesting moment. Gene, I'm not going to Indian Wells. But Anastasia and Ashley are at two different moments. My next tournament is going to be Estoril. I hope to do Barcelona and Madrid, but I need confirmation.
Mine might be Ashtari as well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have any challenges on the horizon, do you?
No, probably I won't be going anywhere in March. I might still change my mind, but there's something that I need to be here for this week, also the week before Estoril. So yeah, it's kind of tricky. I'm hoping to be more productive in April, March, and going forwards. But yeah, so far just one this year. I'll try to hit my 8 at the end of the year anyway.
Did you do 8
But
last year?
Yeah, 8 was my last year's result, and 7 in 2022. So I guess I should do 9. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I think Gene is just sort of asking me if I'm going to be there because I must have said about us covering the tournament. And we've got another break point for Tabilo.
Yeah, that point from to survive the first break point from Baez was pretty great, even if it ended at a tense moment at the net. But now another error. I think just slicing the ball back, right? So the crucial points just keep coming. Huh.
I mean, I already know the outcome of this point.
Why?
Because I've just checked the screen.
Okay, I checked the screen. Yeah, because I was
what
no, my reaction couldn't give you that. No,
No,
I mean,
it didn't.
Tabilo drop shots. He's been maybe overplaying that in some key moments. Baez kind of tracks it down though, and Tabilo has this nice window down the line. For a while, you could, because Baez had a play on it, but no, I mean, he was never gonna get any control out of it. But it would have been an insane way to end them. I mean, to save a breakpoint for Baez. But anyway, Tabilo breaks this time, executing that drop shot pass combo pretty well. Sometimes he's been trying to lob and then usually missing it, but all in all, it works
Crowd
out
are pretty
here.
happy.
Yeah, crowd is happy, and also the sheer determination here from him is
hope
pretty
Juan
cool.
Ignacio is keeping his excitement in. I hope he's not jumping around the press seats. Although if he is, he's probably with other Chileans.
Exactly. I doubt there would be any foreign journalists there really. So
right. It might be some Argentinian ones.
Yeah, sure.
In which case, I don't think they'll be jumping around.
Someone from the continent could be there. Yeah, Argentina is actually a fair guess.
Someone in a press conference the other day, their first question was about half the press conference. The press conference would say 8 minutes, and the first question took about 2 or 3 minutes to get out. It was a very lengthy one. It's one of my. I get it for a newbie, especially, or just someone who's a bit anxious or doesn't do it so often. Often you end up, asking longer questions because you want to be clear, blah blah blah. But yeah, I prefer succinct if possible. I'm sure I've been guilty of not being succinct, but
you probably have, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Not so much in tennis, but I think in political circles, I think you give the politician too much of a chance to get out of the question if you make it too long.
Yeah, tennis usually not the case, but then again, maybe if we're talking about
maybe
some
Novak
controversial
on vaccines, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Domestic abuse.
Yeah. Baez, by the way.
Yeah, huge winner, and now Tabilo tries to serve in volley and just doesn't. Just mishits the volley completely, even though he had the opportunity.
Nice forehand winner.
So
proceeding it.
Is that gonna be in? Baez lobs Tabilo, and I think he actually landed this on the baseline. So three match points. Yeah. I think Tabilo even actually let it go. However, yeah, like he was still pretty far away from it, so I don't know if he was gonna, have a shot at getting it back anyway. But still, he did let it go, I think.
And Tabilo is still fighting. But not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, Baez just won another great point, really. Just survived the early pressure and then started spreading the ball well around the court. Tabilo on the move, and eventually he finds himself a winner as well. I mean, other than just like a couple of games or points, the last two sets were pretty much perfect from Baez. And it was pretty similar, I guess, to the match against Varias maybe in the second round. Like right now, he just has so much confidence that even when an opponent comes out pressuring him, usually he's going to survive.
I'm just trying to remember, who did Baez lose to in Buenos Aires?
Federico Coria, that was in Cordoba or Buenos Aires.
Let me have a look. I think I've got it.
One was against Coria and the other one was against Darderi in Cordoba.
Coria. Straight set, 6-1, 6-4.
Yeah, he had a pretty horrific showing there. And of course, the Darderi one in Cordoba wasn't that bad. So
no, and
basically
just give revenge for that.
Yeah, just one really like poor performance throughout the Golden Swing, I would say.
Yeah. So that's the one that sticks out. So we got to the final in Cordoba, was it?
Semis in Cordoba, quarter in Buenos Aires, and then 2 titles. 4 quarterfinals every single event. 3 semifinals, 2 finals, and in these 2 finals, he also managed 2 titles.
Gene laughing at the fact that the crowd, you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
I personally don't really have an opinion on best or worst crowds in terms of favoritism, because the New York ones are nuts for the Americans, the French ones are nuts for the French, and Chileans for the Chileans, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Maybe the Liechtenstein crowd aren't crazy about Liechtenstein players, but maybe the Swiss are not. Well, I'm sure the Swiss were.
There's actually well, not in Liechtenstein. I don't know if there's a pro event in Liechtenstein, but there's a Luxembourg one in Esch sur Alzette.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, of course, it all like there's a fine line between just favoring your player, supporting him, getting him over the line, helping him out, and just straight up being disrespectful to the opponent. But
yeah, and I'm sure. By the way, I'm not saying that these crowds aren't disrespectful and do go over the line, as I said with Mute, but I don't know whether I don't know how do you gauge that the French seem to get it a lot in the neck. Let's say the French Open in particular. No, I think Paris-Bercy too. I just don't know if they're any worse than the Americans are for the Americans, and so on and so forth. The Chileans for the Chileans, and I mean, maybe Wimbledon is a bit different, but then there's a lot of things going on there.
Wimbledon usually doesn't have as many home crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you want? Do you want slightly cheaper tickets, maybe, or slightly? Do you want to broaden the sport? Do you want to get a few different crowds in, such as New York, for example, or do you want to keep it a closed shop, but we get nice, polite rounds of applause? I'll take a slightly more rowdy crowd from time to time. And I just wish that they would do away with certain other things in terms of, people being out to enter the stadium, for example, during a game. I would like to see that rule drop, so that way people can get to see more of the match. and not have to think about when they can go to the toilet.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't really plan for it because basically
Exactly. Not only that, I mean, there was a train, which is fine. I have no problem with it. But in Buenos Aires, there's an actual train track behind the stadium, and it's going through as players are about to serve. And of course, the train's got to get on with it. It's the only stadium I'm aware of. Maybe there's another big stadium somewhere in the world, but and yet somebody walking in with an ice cream can't walk in, and yet there's a train actually going right
I don't
in the
know if
line.
it fits your definition of a big stadium, but at the 25K
Okay, yeah.
in Poznan, there is exactly the same situation. Like you can,
Okay.
when you're going to by train from my hometown to Poznan, you can literally just, see the courts. And it's always kind of fun because, well, you see the courts, then you go to the train station and you still have to walk back like 25 minutes, but, that's okay. And then there's actually like the train track is literally next to the courts. And yeah, usually the players don't really like that, obviously.
It's just one of those things. They didn't. There was no mention of it in Argentina. I think I was the only person who seemed to be obsessed by it, but partly because of my frustration with not allowing people to go into the court when a point or game is in progress. So that is the Golden Swing done for another year. Packed crowds, unbelievable tour for Baez in winning 2 of the titles, of course. Frustrations perhaps elsewhere for 1 or 2 other players that we touched on, of course. But now we switch to the Sunshine Double. I always feel personally that Indian Wells is exciting and rightly so, but I always feel as though maybe I'm not quite as excited by Miami. I don't know whether that's just because of maybe some of the tournaments we've had there, or because maybe we've had like Rafa at Indian Wells, but we didn't have him in Miami, or maybe we got better matches in Indian Wells, or just the fact that Indian Wells is first for me is probably a big reason. But if Miami was first and Indian Wells came second, maybe I would feel more pumped for it like that. But
I'd assume
anyway,
that yeah, for most people it's probably like that. Yeah, that it's simply what comes first, and then by the end of the second, you're kind of just
because it is basically 4 weeks now.
Yeah, but as I said, I mean, the real solution is simply watch challengers, and literally you're not going to be burnt out or anything because there's going to be so many new players, matchups every single day. And honestly, if I was just like a straight up main tour watcher, just watching Indian Wells in Miami, yes, I would probably at some points feel disappointed about the relative lack of action that you can have at such drawn out events. But since I never have that problem, that's perfectly fine.
Given it's all about, of course, preparation for Estoril, do you think if her catch gets to the 3rd round, do you think he might withdraw in Miami?
Withdraw out of Miami to catch an early flight to Estoril.
To Estoril, yeah, exactly.
I mean, if he's heard that I'm there, probably. Yeah.
There's a Polish presence.
Yeah.
I would love it if there is a Polish journalist who I came across in Estoril and Madrid last year. Does he work for Clay or Quartz? No, Quartz magazine, I think. You'll know him for sure. But I can't remember his name right now. I apologize to him because he was a nice guy and I saw him in Madrid as well. And he lives very, very near Estoril, or he did a year ago. So I'm sure if he's still in the neighborhood, he'll be there again. And yeah, so there we go. Golden Swing goodbye. Sunshine Double on the horizon, and then it's European Clay. But 4 weeks of American hard courts first.
We are already looking forward to European Clay, more or less. That's kind of the story here.
I am looking forward to Indian Wells as well. Before Ghosty joins the chat and gets mad at us ignoring these 2 North American
Tommy Paul. I'm just hedging for Ghosty if he ever decides to rewatch the VOD.
Yeah, Paul Fritz. The other ones that we get him most annoyed about. He doesn't mind our takes on
Sebi Korda, definitely not.
No, he doesn't like Sebi Korda. In fact, he probably doesn't like our take on him because there are 1 or 2 members of the team that have
Korda born in the Czech Republic or in the States already? In the States, right?
Oh,
okay, never mind. Yeah, then my theory falls apart because I was gonna ask what does Ghosty feel about how does Ghosty feel about Denis Kudla, because Kudla, I think, was born in Kyiv, but as Korda was born in
Okay.
the States, it kind of
Paolo
falls apart.
Podolski was born in New York.
Taro Daniel as well, out of the interesting players in New York as well. Yeah,
Boris Johnson.
Shapovalov in Tel Aviv, of course. That's kind of famous.
Shapovalov was born in Tel Aviv. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Or Jerusalem. Oh, definitely in Israel. I think it's Tel Aviv, but definitely
Korda, where was he born?
Bradenton, I think, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, the States.
Yeah, Bradenton, exactly, Florida. All right. Well, on those bombshells, golden swing tick. See you soon, and everybody, you know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.